So as a Gen Xer, the question that I've asked myself is, what does it look like to retire comfortably as a Gen Xer? Now, recently, I've been hearing that a lot of Gen Xers are waiting to retire at 65, and they are relying on Social Security only. And I actually watched a video with Azul Wells, who's a financial advisor, and he had stated a stat that was crazy to me, that most Gen Xers are waiting until 65 and they're going to take their Social Security, which is only around $1,920 a month. Crazy. But here's what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to kind of break it down. I've got 3 steps, these right here, that are critical and very important, I feel, to retire comfortably and where I don't have to wait until I'm 65. This side over here, this is what I'm working on as we speak to help live comfortably. We're going to cover all of this, but this right here is what we're going to start with. So you might be asking, what is the first thing? What is the first thing on this board? Well, I've got my little marker here and we're going to fill that in. This is really, really important because a lot of times people don't think of this as something they need to do to retire comfortably. They need to focus on the health side. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect at all because, I try to exercise on a regular basis. I try to get my walks in. I try to lift weights. So this way here, I can keep the muscle up because as we get older, muscle breaks down faster, our bone density, like all of that stuff. Like I'm really into that stuff if you couldn't tell, because I'm 52 years old and I want to stay feeling young and I want to be active and I want to be able to get down on the floor with the grandkids and all of those things, okay? So health is number one. If we don't have our health, we're not going to live comfortably. The other thing is if we don't focus on our health, we're also going to need more medical attention. Probably we're going to need pharmaceutical, drugs. We're going to need, more care, and it's not going to be enjoyable, okay? So I want to, like right now today, I feel like I'm retired in a sense because I'm doing what I love, but I also feel like I'm super, super healthy because that's what I'm focusing on. And again, if you're not, then you probably should start focusing on that. So we're not even getting into money yet. We're talking about health because if we don't have our health, you might not make it to your 65. All right, the next thing here, and that is your E. I have E here, okay? So what would that be if we are talking about the E? Well, this is a big one, all right? Expenses. We need to get our expenses in check. If we don't get our expenses in check, well, we are going to be behind as far as like what we need to be setting ourselves up for success as someone that's retired. And that is really your debt. Do you have any debt? Do you have student loans still? Do you have a house that needs to be paid off? What are your expenses? So what I've been really, really focusing on here the last, I would say, year is what are my expenses and what will it look like when I am fully retired, which, by the way, I'm never going to be fully retired. I feel like I'm retired right now because I'm doing what I love. I'm shooting videos right here for you. I have another channel that I help people in the e-commerce space. It's called Brand Creators. And that's what I'm doing. That's what provides a living for me, but it also allows me to keep going, even though a lot of people wait till they retire. So expenses though, that's really, really important, because if we reduce the expenses without getting your Frappuccino or without not getting your coffee or not going out to dinner, like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting the expenses in check, the big ones. Okay, now Dave Ramsey talks about paying off your home, paying off all your debts, paying off your cars. Yeah, I'm a fan of that, but depending on where you are in life, maybe you got a really good rate on your mortgage and you're like, you know what, I got like a 2.9% of my mortgage. I'm just gonna keep that. That's fine. But you do need to get real with yourself and figure out what are your expenses, what are they going to be, and what are you going to work towards? Because if we can reduce the expenses, it's less money that we actually need to live on, all right? So that's the expenses. And you probably guessed what the I is. Well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and spell it out here. And let's see if we can do this quick. We can. Income streams. What are your income streams going to be, or what are they? Now, a lot of times people are paying into a 401k, or people are putting into some type of Roth IRA, or they're putting it into a, if you're working for a corporate company that matches your 401k, like any of that stuff, you're doing that. And then you're hoping at the time 65 comes around, you're going to be able to draw from that. Now, people talk about the 4% rule, the 8% rule, which is crazy. But that is something that you're going to have to go, okay, at 65, what am I going to be able to pull from that, right? And so just to give you some quick math, if you have $1 million in there, then and if you do the 4% rule, that would be $40,000 a year. Not bad, right? The people that are waiting for Social Security, they're going to get almost $2,000 on average. So then you would be taking that money, which is going to be about $24,000, and you'd be living on about $60-some-thousand. Obviously, we got to take taxes out of that. So let's just say $45,000, $50,000. Okay. So you would have to say, okay, with my expenses, we talked about the expenses right here. With the expenses, are the income streams that I'm going to have when I'm 65 going to be able to support that? Now, if you're saying to yourself, I don't want to wait until I'm 65, I want to be able to retire now. What are your income streams right now that are not going to go away if you were to stop doing what you're doing? All right, that's what we have to ask ourselves. So the expenses are really important to know how much we need to earn with those income streams. That takes me over here to where I call this my ARM method, and that's basically what I'm doing right now. I am shooting this video on this channel. This channel is going to be with me for now and well into the future, because this is my retirement income stream, one of them. Because YouTube has been very good to me over the last 15, 16 years. And that's what I've been doing. I've been a YouTube content creator, which I've built businesses off of, every single one. So let's get into these. And this is where I think if you are right now saying to yourself, I don't know if my income streams are going to just disappear. And maybe you don't want to wait till you're 65 to draw from your IRAs. Which you really can't, because you're going to get penalized if you do it early, if, any of that stuff. So you have to ask yourself, what can I create? Well, if you're 50 years old right now, if you did want to get started on YouTube, it's very doable, by the way. And I just did a review on a guy that is over 50 that has a beekeeping channel, and he's doing over $50,000 a year from that channel. I'll link that up in the description if you want to check that out. But this right here, let's get into it. So if you are interested, all right, in adding an income stream or income streams, okay, being able to talk about things that you're interested in, maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's something you want to get interested in, or you want to, research more in. Maybe you're going to start taking up golf. Maybe you're going to take up fishing. Maybe you're going to start rebuilding muscle cars, like whatever it is, you can turn that into an income stream, especially if you're like, I want to do this in the next 5 years. Right now would be a perfect time for you to do that. And you're a GenXer, you've got experience. All right. So what does the A stand for? The A stands for, I'm going to do this quick, attention. That's what it stands for. Okay. We need to get attention if we're going to do this YouTube thing. Okay. Now, let me just pause here for a second. If you're saying to yourself, Scott, can you really make any decent money on YouTube? And you can, and there's a variety. Like down here, there's different ways that we can earn money, and I'm going to go over them right now. But the first thing is, and this is what I would recommend to anybody, like you might not have a lot of money to be investing more into your retirement, if you have any at all. But you can start taking the time that you have and start building a YouTube channel that will turn into income streams. So you're almost like investing in the stock market as you would, but you're just investing in creating assets that can then in turn pay you well into the future, okay? But attention is the first piece. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing my plan for YouTube and kind of how I'm utilizing it, I have a little blueprint that I made, a little roadmap, business plan. If you want a copy of that, just put 100K in the comments and I'll send it to you. All right. It's what I call my YouTube creators business plan. All right. It's the 100K plan, I call it. Comment 100K and I will send you a copy of that. All right. Let's get into the R. The R is relationship. Okay. What do I mean by that? We're building the audience. We're building relationships with that audience of people that are going to come back. Yes, they're going to watch more videos, but eventually they're going to do this right here. And that is, let me get into that. They're going to earn us money. And how are they going to do that? Well, there's a variety of different ways. I'm going to cover these three down here on the bottom. All right. But it's really important that we look at this. Attention is just going after the niche or the market that you are interested in. So again, I'm going to use bass fishing. If you're into bass fishing, I could literally say, I want to build an audience of people that are interested in bass fishing. And then from there, I'm just going to show up and do this. I'm going to deliver tips, helpful advice, things that I've encountered, things that I've overcome, anything like that. That's what you're doing with these videos in order to get attention. Okay. Now, again, these don't have to be highly edited. This video right here, super simple. I'm sitting out by my pool. I've got a little whiteboard. If you were a bass fisherman and you had 3 simple tips to share with people to catch more bass in the fall, then you could get a little whiteboard and you can do exactly what I'm doing right here in your niche. All right. So that's what we need to focus on. Attention first. Relationship building second, meaning we're going to keep showing up. We're going to be consistent. Now, there's more to the relationship side. I actually go into that in that guide that I talked about, the 100K guide, where the relationship is really about how to build an email list. And then from there, you're able to build that relationship deeper. All right. And then that also allows you to do this, make money through not just the YouTube videos, but through your email list. So let's look at this here a little bit closer. I have this labeled AAD. So the first A is going to be this, affiliate money. And what is affiliate money? It's very simple. If you are sharing with people things that you are using, so an example, I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, I am using the Osmo 6. I am using the DJI lav mic right here. And I'm going to have people that are going to say, man, Scott, I wonder what equipment you're using. It looks really good. I like how you can kind of pan and go, because I do some walking and talking videos. I like how smooth that is. How are you doing that? What's holding up your phone right now to take this video? Or your audio sounds really good. What are you recording it on? So what I can do is say, hey, if you're interested in the equipment that I'm using, I'm going to go ahead and link it up in the description. And this way here, you can see exactly what I'm using. But very simply, I'm using an Osmo 6 and I'm using a DJI mic. I'll leave all the links in the description. That's how I would do that. Now you might say, oh, I want to use the same equipment that Scott uses. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link and I'm going to purchase the Osmo 6. And if you do, Amazon will give me a small commission, very small, but it's a commission. And that adds up, okay? And that can turn into $500 a month, $1,000 a month or more just from affiliate sales, okay? So if you're a fisherman, you might have a fishing pole that you recommend, you might have a kayak that you recommend, any of that stuff, all right? Okay, the second A, let's get into that. Ads, YouTube ads. Now, you can't turn on ads until you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, okay? That's your first milestone, all right? And then once you do, you're gonna be able to turn on ads. Now, depending on your niche, you will get paid a percentage of what YouTube collects, okay? Now, typically, right now, in a niche like, let's say, if it was fishing or if it was beekeeping, something in a hobby like that, it might be around $4 to $5, okay, per 1,000 views. Now, if you're talking about finance, if you're talking about maybe how to make money or how to save money, any of that stuff, that RPM, they call it an RPM, the per 1,000, how much you get paid can go up as high as $20 or $50. Maybe it's a life insurance or something like that. It depends on the market, but it also depends on the advertisers. But a good rule of thumb is $5 per 1,000. So Once again, if you have a channel that gets, a few thousand views, you can make some extra money on those views, okay? So that's how that works. Now, the goal is if you get 100,000 views on multiple videos, it's gonna still add up, all right? So if you had 100,000 views, if we took that 100, that's going to be $500, okay? So $500, not too bad for 100,000 views. You might say, well, Scott, how do I get 100,000 views? You just post videos and they add up. It doesn't have to be on just one video. All right, so the third income stream, this is one of my favorites, by the way, digital products. Now, what are digital products? It could be an ebook. It could be a little mini course. It could be a full-fledged course. It could also be you coaching someone. All right, so I would say in the very beginning, you're gonna probably start with an ebook. An ebook could sell for $10. It could sell for $100, depending on your market and also how much information is in that ebook. The second way on a digital product that you can monetize the audience is you can do a little mini workshop. This is where you would show up for, let's say, an hour, maybe two, and you would share with someone or people, you would share something that they want to overcome or something that they could get better at. So if you were in the fishing niche, you might say, hey, this weekend, I am going to do a 1-hour workshop of the 5 things to win your next bass fishing tournament. And then you could sign up for, let's say, $40, and you would then get people on. So if you get 10 people, you make $400. Now, these are my favorite because, well, they're easy to do and you don't need a lot of tech. You can literally just have people show up in a live room, even Zoom, and you can teach something in an hour or two. And people will show up that are interested and they will pay you for that workshop. So that's a great way to do it. Now, the other cool thing is when you do that, you can also then record it and then you can sell it later for people that aren't there live. One of my favorite ways of doing this is these little workshops, all right? Now, I know there's a lot there that I just threw at you. If you do want that guide, that 100K roadmap, go ahead and put 100K in the comments and I'll send it to you, okay? I'll give you a copy of that. Now, a lot of people think you need a massive audience in order to do this, and you don't. I actually shot a video right here of my first YouTube channel where I had 1,000 subscribers and I was able to make my first $12,500 online. Watch that video next and I'll see you there.